Good morning and welcome to Old Man Energy. I'm your host, Flint Anderson. And with us today, we have a guest I've been trying to get on here for at least a year. We got Zach Tolen, or as a lot of you guys know him, Vanilla Rice out of Las Vegas.
Let's
Welcome,
go.
Zach.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you. I know a year, it seems like it went so fast, though.
Yeah, believe it or not, I think it's been closer to 2 since we met.
Definitely, which
Just
is wild, too.
things have been happening, and on both of our ends. I think you've opened another location or a whole new restaurant since we last talked.
Yeah, I've opened a new restaurant. Catering is through the roof. My daughter's 2 now. So, I mean, a lot of stuff's been happening in those 2 years.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, introduce yourself to my audience if you would. Tell us who you are and how you got the name Vanilla Rice. It's you.
Yeah, my name is Zach Tolen. Everybody calls me Vanilla Rice. They call me Vanilla Rice because I am a American hibachi chef, and I have been that for the last, I want to say 12 years now. But I own 2 restaurants out here in Las Vegas called Vanilla Rice Hibachi. We serve, Benihana style food, but better. But we serve it in a takeout style. So we serve it, you don't want the show, you don't want the volcano, you just want, your chicken and salmon fried rice on Tuesday. That's where you come to our restaurant. We also have a catering company as well, where I come out to your house and I do the whole show in your backyard. It's really fun for birthdays, anniversaries, all that fun stuff. And yeah, I started off as a dishwasher at 15 years old at a hibachi restaurant, and I wanted to make some more money. And the joke I always say is I blinked my eyes and I was head chef, and now I own 2 restaurants.
That's cool. That's cool. And of course, the normal hazing that goes on in the restaurant business. I'm sure you had
I
more
mean,
than one nickname out of there.
yeah, well, especially being the white guy. I mean, I was the minority there. I was there with all the Latinos, a couple Asians, and yeah, I definitely was the butt of a lot of the jokes. But one thing it taught me was how to roast. Because I didn't like getting roasted. And I didn't enjoy it. So I realized, okay. And then also too, I wanted to earn the respect of everybody else. So I'm like, if I just make them laugh, then maybe they'll like me. And so I had to learn how to start roasting. And next thing you know, that I'm in with the jokes, roasting everybody else with them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How old are you now, Zach?
I turned 29 in September, so I'll be 30 this year.
29 in September. 2-year-old daughter, 2 restaurants, huge amount of responsibility for anybody in their 40s, and you've done that in your 20s.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot, but I think like your podcast, Old Man Energy, I've got the young man energy, and I'm hoping to take it the whole way.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, you
Yeah.
got to get it from somewhere. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, one thing, the number one business that most entrepreneurs put down is a restaurant, unless you're in the restaurant business, because it's what's the running joke? How do you make a small fortune in the restaurant business? Is you start with a large one.
Yeah.
So
it's hard, man, and I battle with that every day.
Yeah, tell us about your journey, how you ended up on your business model, because that's kind of unique for a hibachi restaurant. I mean, when you think hibachi restaurant, you think the giant overhead, you think the big area with all the open grills. So take us through how you went from the kitchen into owning your own restaurant.
Yeah, so at around 20 or 19, I became a head chef at a hibachi restaurant where they have all the grills and everything, and we're cooking in front of people, making jokes, volcanoes, doing the whole thing, right? And my friends would come through. They come through once or twice a week, and of course, I get paid to perform. Like that's what we did. And my friends would be like, "Dude, cut the volcano, cut the shell. Like I'm good. I just want the food." And I'm like, what do you mean you want the food? And my boss, of course, is over there like, make sure, I'm doing a good job and entertaining the guests. And I'm like, no, he just wants the food, boss. He just wants the food, And they're like, all right. But after so many times of that happening and me realizing that people that were coming back time and time again, they didn't care whether I did the show or not. They were just hungry. They just wanted the food. And so I said, so you're telling me you come here, don't care about the show, you would pay this price and get the same food without the show? He's like, bro, yes, I'm here 2 times a week. I know you can flip a volcano, or I know you can do a volcano. I know you can flip a spatula behind your back. Cut it. Just cut it. And that's where the idea sparked what if I did a takeout model? Because, we have takeout, we have takeout at the Japanese hibachi restaurants, but it's not as popular and not really the forefront of their business model. It's to get the people in, spend money on drinks and appetizers and sushi rolls and all that stuff. And so that's where I came up with the idea of, let me just sell some plates out of my house and see if I can make something happen.
Very cool. And then you turned that into 2 separate restaurants.
Correct. So during the pandemic, we started selling out the backyard, my mom's backyard, actually. And I just started selling plates. And the business model, I mean, obviously me in the industry, I know all the different trucks and other spots that have opened since. But, not being in the industry, it's, you don't see everything, so mine is usually, there's a lot that are popping up is what I'm trying to say, but the model has become very popular. We still get some flack. I just got a review the other day, man. Food was great, drinks were great, but they charge you the same price as if you went to Benihana's with the show. Why am I, I'm paying the same price and not getting any show? I'm like, well, the thing is, it's the same exact food. Like it's the same. I'm serving the same exact food, if not better. I'm like, that's really what you're paying for. You're not paying for the show. The show is just extra. So, there still is that give and take of having to train people that this is a whole new model that they're not used to, but it's been great to me. I'll tell you that. It's been great.
That's good. That's good. What was the biggest challenge going from starting out working in a restaurant to owning it? Because I'm assuming you didn't buy the restaurant you were in; you started your own after that, so you had to make that step at some point.
Yeah, the biggest challenge is, and this goes for any business, I think, is the knowledge, right? Having no clue and having that be something that's going to hold you back, because not having the knowledge holds a lot of people back from starting anything, whether it's a restaurant or any business, right? I'm scared of the unknown. I'm scared that I'm going to jump into something and have no clue and fail. So I definitely think that was the hurdle, and that's where my new brand, Rich Off Food, is really coming into place. It's making sure restaurant owners and food entrepreneurs that want to become one have the knowledge, or at least have some type of basis on what they're getting themselves into. A lot of these restaurant owners, they open up because they think it's a good idea, and they realize they're not really cut out for it. They don't have the grind and the grit that they really thought they had. Because that's one thing. I mean, I have this argument with buddies all the time. They're like, I truly believe, and you could correct me if you could say your opinion on this, but I truly believe if you're not number one in your company, you're not going to run a successful business. Because if you can't self motivate yourself inside of that company, you're not going to self motivate yourself when somebody's not telling you what to do. And so a lot of these people think like, oh, I hate my job, I want to go start my own business, and they slack off. That's why I slack off, because I hate my job. But if you can't give a all in one area, it's really hard to give your all when somebody's not pushing you and telling you what to do and giving you a structure. Right, like I go to the restaurant that I used to work at, and man, everything's already there, food's already ordered. The only thing I got to bring is a knife, and the customers are already there. You know what I mean? And so I truly believe that, this brand is going to help not only educate people that want to open, it's going to educate people that are already open to help them stay open. And it's also going to educate people on if they got what it takes or not. Because, I don't want these people spending their hard earned dollars to open a restaurant, and because they thought their grandma's cookies recipe was the best thing ever. And in 6 months, they're closed. And so that's what I truly believe is the bottleneck, or the hardest part about it, any business in general. Knowledge.
Isn't that the truth? You can be an excellent cook. You can have a great recipe, but if you don't know how to run a restaurant, you're not going to stay open.
Yeah, I mean that's why the what is it? The 60% of restaurants fail in the first year, and 40% in the five. I don't know the exact terms, but it's really high, and it's because of that. I could, like you just said it exactly. You could have the best recipe, but if you don't know anything about business, I mean, you're gonna fall flat on your face. Because this is the thing, right? You're sitting there. And I fell in this trap. I'm trying to compete with other restaurant brands that are similar to mine, so I'm bringing my price down, because I'm like, oh, well, if they're charging this, I need to undercut them. Not realizing that I'm undercutting myself. You need to not charge on competition. You need to charge on your food costs.
Otherwise, you just end up in a race to the bottom. You see, you can go broke quicker.
Perfectly said. Exactly. And that's what I started to realize. I'm realizing, where's the money going? My restaurant's packed. I got people in here every day. Payroll's paid. There's nothing left for me.
Like, wait a minute. No, that's true in any business. I love the fact that you don't even know the statistics. I don't know the competition in any of my businesses either. It's like, here, this is just what we're going to do, and we're not going to be the cheapest, and we're not going to argue with you over price. If it's that base of a decision,
Yeah.
go to somewhere else. I mean, I'm
Yeah, and
not.
at first I did. I don't, I want to be the cheapest with the best quality, cheapest with the best quality. But unfortunately, when you're the best quality and this other person doesn't have that same quality, you can't go cheaper than them. It's impossible.
Not everybody buys a freaking Yugo or a Toyota. Some people actually want the luxury, and people
And
can pay for it.
bougie fast food is what I'm. Bougie fast food.
Well, and that's it. You don't buy everything you want at the dollar store.
Yeah,
So sometimes,
exactly.
sometimes you do, but not all the time. I mean, so just people need, and I love the fact that you're approaching this, because you probably just had a lot of extra time left over during the day, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna start teaching people how to run a restaurant, because that's how successful people work, right? We got all kinds of extra time. I'm obviously
Yeah,
being a smartass.
yeah, right. Shoot, I mean, this the extra time is 3 in the morning when the coffee hasn't settled down yet, and I'm still like, what?
It has to be. It has to be a passion. It has to be a
Yeah,
passion for, and not only for your craft, but also for teaching other people. You want to see other people win. You want to see other people succeed. I'm assuming that's where rich off food came from in the
Yeah, I
idea
want to
for
see
it.
other people succeed. But it's not even just that. I just don't want to see them fail so fast. You know what I mean? I'm obviously in the industry, so I see this. But restaurants are closing. It's about to be the 2008 real estate crash with restaurants. There's about to be so much inventory out there that I'm about to just start picking them up like infinity stones. You know, like because landlords are going to be calling me like, please just pay me less for it. I just need something. You know, because it's about to be really bad next year. The amount of restaurants that are closing.
And we're starting to see that in Florida too. The restaurants that are
Oh yeah.
staying open, even the chain restaurants, their prices are getting. I'm not going to say ridiculous because cost is what it is, but they're significant price increases just to stay up with the food cost and inflation, just like anything
and it's
else.
not even and it's not even our fault. I mean, in a sense, it is, right. You shouldn't have opened that luxury brand knowing that there's inflation, but at the same time, it's like gas prices. What am I going to do? Walk? No, I'm going to pay for it. Just because it's $2 more, I'm not going to walk. I'm going to pay. Just like I'm not going to shut down my business right now. Maybe if it gets too bad in the future, but God willing, I'm not going to shut down my business just because steak went up $1. I'm going to adjust. And hey, if business goes down, it's one of those give or takes.
Well,
Because you know what the most profitable item in your restaurant is, right?
what is it?
It's the one that sells the most.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Everybody sits there and goes, my iced tea, I make it for 10 cents and I sell it for $3. That's my biggest margin. Yeah, well, if no one's buying the iced tea, is it really the most profitable?
Yeah, people are getting water because you're charging $3 iced tea.
And so it's like my steak and shrimp might not be the most profitable on paper, but if it's the most being sold out of anything else, it's the most profitable.
Well, and learning to look at numbers in the way that they actually work is one thing. Yes, the markup on tea or a drink even may be more, but if you don't sell that and 10 times more, the cash flowing into your restaurant comes from the other things that maybe is not as profitable.
Exactly.
Learning how to read a financial statement, learning and understanding how money works, I think is another one of universal business concept. You just deal with it daily because of the cost associated with running a restaurant and the shelf
Yeah.
life of your inventory. I mean, yours doesn't last very long.
It doesn't last very long. And then also, too, you don't want to be inventory heavy either because that's money that could be in your bank account. Right? You don't want to overbuy. You don't want to underbuy because then you're running out of things. And it's just and like I said earlier, I want to maybe even, and this sounds rude, but discourage somebody not to open a restaurant brand because there's so much into it and that they don't see. They just see Vanilla Rice is over there killing it. They don't understand the late nights, early mornings, the P&Ls, the 15 employees, the customer reviews, the vouchers I got to give back because my employee messed their food up. Like they don't see that. And that's another reason why all these restaurants are closing because they just think that they're just going to open up, flip a patty, and sell it to a customer.
And that's the challenge. So tell us, we've talked about some of the stress and stuff associated with that. You bring the experience to them from a catering level, like you bring your hibachi grill to people's houses or events.
Yep.
I'm assuming you do events too. But share with us some of your best stories or your favorite experiences in doing that, where somebody really enjoyed what you did at their place.
Well, bring in, right. So what it is it's a private chef experience.
Mhm.
That's the way I've changed the terminology. Instead of just bringing Benihana's to your backyard, you're getting a private chef experience to your backyard. So, for some people, I've cooked for all walks of life. I've cooked in the east side of Vegas. I've cooked in the most Seven Hills High Anthem country clubs and all that. I've cooked everywhere in between, right? And so some people, they saved all their money for this one experience, or they brought in a bunch of different money from family members for this experience, and some people, this is what they do on a Tuesday night. Like they don't care. But it doesn't matter which one it is. It's just such a great feeling that I got to come in there, give them not only a great experience, but something they've never had before, right? Like you've never had a hibachi in your backyard. Most people have never had hibachi in their backyard. We've had the Taco Man, catered, regular catering and stuff like that from different restaurants. But to bring to bring a hibachi grill to somebody's backyard, it's just like blows these people away. And not only that, the best part is when they go, and I love this, and I'm trying to figure out how to duplicate myself to grow this part of the business. But it's like we've had a hibachi guy before, but he was nothing like you. That right there is one thing I love.
And so there is some showman in you as well. Hibachi food is all about show. I
Oh
mean,
man, I get them up dancing. I'm getting Granny up on the grill, flipping an egg, cracking it. We're spraying sake in people's mouths. I'm picking on people. We're talking smack back and forth. They're crying, laughing. I mean, it's just I'm flirting with Granny. And the whole family's dying laughing. It's not just a volcano onion and a shrimp throw. It's a full on show I put on.
The volcano, everybody loves the volcano onion.
Everyone loves the volcano onion until you spend $100 per person. That's the only thing the chef does at their house, and you're like,
Yeah, wait a
yeah,
minute.
I could have went down the street to Osaka's for this, you know. So that's another thing that I really pride myself on is that these people are spending a lot of money. I don't come out for there's a minimum spend that I come out for. So when I come out for that spend, I've even had times my girls worked with me, my brothers worked with me, and I'm like, man, I'm freaking out because I'm like, did they have a good time? I hope they had a good time. And my brother's like, dude, they had an amazing time. Obviously, it's a completely different perspective. They're looking at it from a different angle. They're serving the party with me, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know, they weren't laughing at my jokes as much, this and that. Was it me? Was it me? They're like, no, dude, they were fine. They had such a great time. Because I also have that. These people spent a lot of money. I don't want them to be like, that was all right. you know?
So caring that much about your product, because your value add to hibachi, one, your hibachi is good, or your reviews say that across there. So the food is good, but your value add that really helps justify your price as well is you specifically. When you say you're trying to duplicate yourself, you want somebody that has that same passion, that same desire for the show.
Yeah, it's really hard. I've had a few people that were good contenders, but then what do? They go start their own company. And I'm not mad at them, but I'm like, great, And then I'm like, I'm thankful, but I just created my own competition. But hey, it'll come, and the goal is to get so many parties that I have the need for it. Right now, I don't have as many. I'm doing four to 10 a month, so I can do them myself, which is fine. It's good money for me. But my goal is to do 20, 30, 40 to where I have no choice. I have to take somebody there because right now I don't have to take somebody there. I can do it myself, and it's just all it all reminds me of when I started the restaurant. When I started the restaurant, I was cooking everything myself. Then it got to a point where I had to bring somebody on. Then it got to a point where I need a day off. Now I got to bring a second person on. So right now the catering, I'm still handling it, and who knows what the future will hold, God willing, and have 30 to 100 parties a month.
30 to 100 parties a month sounds like an incredible amount of work, but a whole lot of fun.
A whole lot of money.
A lot of money. I mean, let's get down to what matters. Let's go from there.
Yeah.
So tell us, and I want to ask you some about your family. I want to ask you some about that. And everybody says balance. I don't want to ask you about the balance. I want to ask you about that. But first, I want to ask you about your event that you got coming up. I saw a tag. It's what reminded me to reach back out to you. You're going to be having a live event where you're teaching people, correct, in the restaurant industry?
So what this event is it's more of a networking event and
Mhm.
bringing food entrepreneurs is what I call everybody. Food entrepreneurs could be anything: restaurant owner, food truck owner, pop-up shop. I don't want to bottle people into if you only own a restaurant. I mean, even foodies, right? Foodies,
Yeah.
people that don't even have restaurants, they just take their food entrepreneur. You make money from food, your industry, right? And so what this is, and I'll go a little bit deeper on what Rich Off Food actually is, and I did a little earlier, but I'll go deeper. What this is to bring a group of people together that's in the food space, and I want to bring special guests in. So this one, I'm bringing in a good friend of mine and mentor, Ike. He owns Ike Sandwiches. I don't know if you guys have any in Florida. He's mostly West Coast, but he owns 117 sandwich restaurants. So it's like somebody that started from one, and it's not like you're going to talk to the guy that just started Subway. This is impossible. But this guy is somebody that's going to come in. He was just like everybody else at one point, and he still is like everybody else at one point. This guy, dude, he's still going out there with his sandwiches and marketing. I showed up to a UFC event. I'm like, hey, I see you're in town. Where you at? He's like, I'm at the UFC event with my sandwiches, giving them out to UFC fighters. And I'm sitting here going, that's what I do. And I'm only at two restaurants. So the fact that he's still out in the field, it just gives that more personal touch. He's not as far away. He's accessible in a sense. And also to show these people that, look, if he has 117 shops and he's still grinding this hard, what's your excuse, right? And so we're going to hear from him. We're going to hear from myself as well. I'm going to be talking as well. It's not more of the teaching. It's more of just, bringing people together. And then the goal is, we're building a newsletter. The newsletter is going to be sending out weekly updates on food news and food lessons. And the whole goal is to create this ecosystem that is going to provide food knowledge and industry knowledge and stuff like that, to where people, hey, like I said, I wish I would have spent $1,000 to $5,000 to skip, excuse me, all the hurdles I went through, or I would have spent $1,000 to $5,000 to realize, instead of spending 200,000 on a restaurant, I spent 5,000 to think like, yeah, this ain't for me. And so that's kind of the goal. The goal is to build this ecosystem and see where this could take me. I got restaurants, I got catering. Now I'm trying to build my community.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, use that to segue in and tell us what Rich from Food is as far as that goes. That's your latest project.
Yeah, so Rich Off Food. Then this is
Rich
one
Off.
sector of it's going to be it's the live events. We're going to do live events. Not sure yet. I'm the kind of guy that just throws something out there, and if it works, then I'm like, all right, now let's build on it. But yeah, so it's going to be a full on media first platform because Food influencers are great. I love them. We need them, but there's not really a lot of story behind these food entrepreneurs. So it's gonna be that. It's also gonna be, like I said, access to different tools to help you either start business, stay in business, realize you don't want to do the business, and then the goal is to make this thing traveling, right? Go to different cities, and then at the end of the year, we want to do a like a festival or conference, or a 3-day conference where 2 or 3 days of just food entrepreneurs getting together, big name speaking, and just like I said, I'm gonna see by the end of the year what this thing actually turns into, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback. I've released 50 tickets, free tickets, of course. I try to do at least these events are free. 50 went away in 2 days. I was like, I'm gonna release another 50. That went away in 3 days. I released another 50. We got about 30 left. The event's tomorrow. So, like I said, I don't expect 150 people to show up. I'm expecting 50 to 60. But hey, if 150 people show up, that's great content. you know?
Spoken like a true caterer.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I'm
One of
like,
the one of
hey.
the best event planning advice I ever got was from a seasoned caterer. He says, "I only bring enough food for 85% of the people that absolutely say they're going to be there. I've been wrong
Yeah.
twice in my life."
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And
I've been burned. I've been burned a lot.
it's crazy. I just bringing people together is so powerful because they remember who puts these networking events on. They remember who and where they met these folks, and you never know what's going to happen as far as life changing. And then to create an ecosystem inside of that, or that runs in parallel with that, allowing everybody to make money together and to learn from one another's experience, that continues to add value. And that in and of itself is incredibly powerful. And that's one thing, all businesses ultimately end up being similar on the top level once you get to a certain size.
Correct.
Your product that you produce may be different, and how you do that, you have to be an expert at it. You've got to be good at it, obviously, or you got to be a good enough sales rep that you can outsell the bad shit that you do.
Yeah.
I've seen some
Yeah.
successful
Really
people
good.
doing that before too.
Selling some terrible things. Yeah.
But if your dream is big enough, your facts don't matter. And that's another thing you touched on, is like, you can get in there and experience a little bit of it, or you can bring people in that may or may not want to do it. And they may realize, no, you know what, that I don't want to do this. I like to cook, and it doesn't look like running a restaurant is all about cooking. It looks like it's more about all the other stuff. So if you can save somebody the money there, that's another value add as well. But also it takes away that mystique from, oh, well, don't start a restaurant because it's probably going to fail and this and that. If you have somebody in there that truly has a passion for what they do and they're smart enough to learn it, you're a living proof and an example of that. You can make it and it will work, but it's going to be more work than you've ever imagined.
Yep.
What is the
Exactly.
hardest
Thank you.
business lesson that you have learned since you went independent on your own?
Ooh, the hardest business lesson I've learned: pay your sales tax. It sounds easier than it is, but as a young 23-year-old kid, when this is what I always hated about sales tax, right? And now I've learned over the years they have apps that separate it, right? But when I first started, all this money's getting deposited in my account. An extra 3 to 5 grand is getting deposited in my account. I'm thinking, I'm so profitable. Oh my gosh, I'm making money, and then there's an extra 5K coming in. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm stacking, 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 stacking. Like I've made so much money. This is more I've made in 3 months of my restaurant working in 1 month. Like, this is crazy. And knock, 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 knock. Here comes the Nevada sales tax people. Like, hey, you owe us $25,000. I'm like, you talking to me?
What?
I don't know. I pay my tax at the end of the year. He's like, no, that's profitable tax. There's sales tax as well. And of course, what I do as a 23-year-old, I just blow it all. Yeah, whatever. I'll pay you when I can. I'll pay you when I can, like, whatever, right? Mind you, bank account's looking a little nice. I'm driving to a catering. Everything's going good. Payroll's coming up next Monday. I look at my phone. I get a notification from Wells Fargo. Your bank account has hit below $0. Huh? What? I mean, mine? I got like 30 grand in there. What you talking about? I go check it. It's negative 5,000. Mind you, I had about 25 to 30 grand in there, and it says Nevada Tax Department. And I'm like,
Oh,
and obviously I'm driving to this cater. It's like a 30-person catering. I'm supposed to go entertain. I'm freaking out. I'm just like, oh, this is terrible. So of course I'm calling the next day. I'm calling, come on, can you just put it back? I'll hop on a payment plan. Just put it back. He's like, sorry, dude, you got to figure that out.
we don't need
you
a payment
know?
plan. Thanks.
Yeah, we payment plan. We got it all in full, man. Don't even worry about a payment plan. We don't want to harm you with that. So I guess the lesson is to make sure you cross your T's and dotting your I's, and make sure that you're just, always on point, especially when it comes to play. But here's another thing that restaurant owners don't realize. They don't realize that we got the health department. Then they don't realize we got OSHA. Then they don't realize we got the labor board. These are all three things that somebody that really doesn't wants to do harm you can call, and they show up within 24 hours to 48 hours, whether the complaint is valid or not. So it's just about crossing your T's and dotting your I's, I think. And I slack off here and there from time to time, but now I have a team, and that helps kind of mitigate that, because it's hard when you're by yourself, especially when a restaurant. It's a lot of moving parts.
It's daunting, the
Yeah.
amount of work that a business requires that people don't realize. And as you
Mhm.
grow into it, you just do one little bit, and as you grow a little bit more, a little bit more, you get to where maybe you don't take it for granted, but you just do a lot of it without even thinking about it, because you've been doing it since you were 15. You've been working in the restaurant
Yeah.
kitchen in one way or another. So somebody just walking into it cold, it's massively overwhelming.
Yeah, and that's why 6 months to a year, I'm seeing these people. It's so sad. It's so sad that their grand opening, they're smiling, they're cutting that ribbon. 6 months to a year, maybe a year and a half. You see that Instagram post. This is our last week. Thank you so much for supporting us. It's like, that must be depressing. And I mean, I've had times where I've had no sales. I've had times, and for me, my employees when I first started used to know that we were slow, because they'd walk in and be like, "Oh, we were slow this morning, huh?" Like, "Oh, why you say that?" "Oh, Zach, man, he is not. He's walking. You could tell. I wear my emotions on my chest, or whatever the term is, on my shoulder. And then next thing you know, sales are coming in, and we're all dancing. Hey, they're like, and I can see my employees like, "Phew, thank God, we didn't want the wrath. And so I couldn't only imagine the. I've had to close down a restaurant as well. That's another. If we got time, I don't know if we do, but I closed down one of my locations at once, and it's depressing. It's very depressing. Luckily, I didn't put too much of my hard-earned money into it, but I can only imagine getting my whole life savings into opening a restaurant, or taking a line of credit out of my house and just having to close it just because we ain't making money. I can imagine. And so it's very sad.
And a lot of that comes from ignorance, not necessarily from bad food or a bad recipe. You could have the best in the world, like we said earlier. You just don't know how to run a restaurant.
Yeah, just because you had the courage to, how exactly do I want to say it? It's not courage, but just because you had the willpower to open the restaurant doesn't mean you also always have the willpower, or to open a business doesn't mean you have the willpower to know business. And that's one thing you can't be naive on. You got to be always be learning. Always be learning, always callousing your brain, always learning new things. I mean, I've been in business for almost 6 years now, and there's still things that I'm like, oh wow. Or there's guys that are in position that I want to be in. I still learn things from Ike. Ike teaches me stuff all the time. Even my business partners are older than me. They teach me stuff all the time. You know, even controlling your own emotions, stuff like that. Like calming down. I was young and fiery. I'm still fiery, but I've learned certain things aren't as much of a big deal, or this isn't that bad. So it's sad when you walk in a restaurant and I walk by them all the time, and you just see the owners or somebody just sitting back there just waiting for customers to come in.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh God, it hurts me. I can't do it. I couldn't do it. I can't sit in my restaurant with no customers in there. I'll go put the lobster suit on and flip a sign outside. I can't do nothing. I just can't do it. I'll sell my food for half off, dude. Just come in, please. I don't care at this point.
It's going to
Just
go
want to see
bad.
bodies in the building.
We need to serve.
Yeah. It's worse if I throw it away than if I sell it for half off.
Yeah, then it's a total loss. Now, you made a promo video. I don't know how long ago you made it. I just recently saw it where you're sitting outside your location. You said an influencer wanted to charge you $5 or $7 to make a video, so you decided to do it yourself. And that video cracked me up. What?
I say it's exaggerative, right? It's definitely exaggerative. Nobody's ever charged me $7,000. I heard Keith Lee charges that, but I don't think he even does restaurant reviews really anymore. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I'm not, but that's your industry as far as it goes, instead of mine. But I just thought it was funny that you're sitting out there, and because people take marketing into their own hands, but again, they don't know what they're doing. But if you go out there and be just real genuine, you'll come across as being genuine, and you
Yeah.
look like you were having fun with it as well.
Yeah.
So what's the craziest thing you've done for marketing that's actually worked? I know you said you put the lobster suit on to spin a sign, but what's the craziest thing you've done, or the most fun? Either one.
Well, I've done the sumo suit. That was definitely the most fun. I did I forgot what type of event it was. It was some fundraiser, and I was out there with a sumo suit on, and these people it's just like, you cannot. I don't care who you are, but you cannot see a guy in a sumo suit and not ask who is that. Like, what is that got going on over there? And so we had the sumo suit. We had the guns with sake in it, and we were spraying people in the mouth with sake. They were trying our hibachi shooters that we have, which is basically like a little small sauce cup, a little bit of rice, and one piece of steak. You dip a little sauce, you take it like a shot. That was another fun one. that people are just like, they've never seen it before. What do you mean a hibachi shot? I'm like, yeah, you just take it like a shot. And my joke is, this reminds you of after they take it, I'm like, reminds you of the college days, right? And they just have such a good time. I mean, when I was first starting, we used to do these illegal, they were called secret sessions. So they were illegal weed pop-ups. So the people are trying to get their weed brand legal, but they got to get the name out there before, so they can get the money to legalize it and this and that. And so, man, when I first started, I used to do a lot of those. That's actually how I started really getting popular. And I remember one time, they just kept getting bigger. They kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And one time the guy was like, yo, 300 people, warehouse, all the vendors, this and that. We got to have you there. It's going to be amazing. So, I did what you just said earlier. I prepped for 300 people. I made 300 bowls, pre-made bowls, because I realized that these are stoners. They're hungry. They don't have time for me to cook a fresh bowl, so I pre-made them all, and I got them in warmers and everything. Bro, we're there for like, I want to say 30 minutes. I'm selling bowls. Everything's going good. Next thing you know, cops, cops, cops. And mind you, I have never seen people that are that intoxicated on weed move so fast. They're clearing off their whole tables, boom, closing the table, running out with all their weed in this hand, table in the other hand. And mind you, I have like 250 bowls just sitting in a cooler, like, and I'm like, and I go, $5 bowls, $5 bowls. Mind you, I was selling for like 10 or 15 bucks. I forget, $5 bowls. People are running out and they go, $5 bowls? Let me get 3 of them. They're cashing me out right there. I probably sold 200 of them just right there. And so just stuff like that, you know what I mean? It's just getting creative, really getting out there. I was scared to go to these secret. I mean, again, when I was younger, I wasn't. But as I got older, I'm like, I'm not doing them no more. But, it's just really just putting yourself out there. Like I said, I ran a restaurant that did 7 figures, but I'm going to still put a sumo suit on and go market my brand at this fundraiser for free. I didn't make any money off the fundraiser. I mean, I did eventually off caterings and everything. But it's stuff like that you just got to really not be afraid to either be judged or put yourself out there.
I think I said in last week's or 2 weeks ago podcast that you got to be willing to look foolish to be successful. You got to be willing to make some mistakes, but you also got to have fun to doing it too. And deep down, I think a lot of us are kind of big dorks anyway. We don't.
Yeah, and we want to. We just have the fear of other people's judgment, Oh, what if I do this and I look stupid? Like, nah, I mean, I look so stupid. My sumo suit didn't even fit me. I had to cut the legs because they wouldn't fit over my calves, and the arm parts went up to here, went up to right here. So I just looked like a goofball. But I'll tell you what, people still, even my business partner, it was like maybe the first 2 weeks we got into business, and they were like, he said, one, I knew this guy was going to be successful. That's why I wanted to team up with him. But 2, the second week I knew this guy, he was out there in a sumo suit promoting his restaurant. He's like, this guy is the truth,
It's crazy how that crazy stuff can make you be more legitimate. And like, okay, he's got to be real if he's willing to do that.
Yeah, yeah, and it
Plus,
brings that
we have
authenticity.
to be so serious all the time anyway that it's fun to let loose and actually have a good time doing that. Especially given
Yeah.
this what you're doing is talking about is hard work. I mean, out there promoting and preparing and getting everything done. So if you're not enjoying it, then it's just not worth it.
Yeah, I agree, and not only are you not enjoying it, it gets depressing. Right, like you said, you're not enjoying it. It's depressing. It's sad, especially when you're just sitting there. Because here's the thing: am I going to sit in my restaurant and be depressed with no orders, or am I at least going to go have fun trying to get customers?
Yeah.
That's the way you got to flip it, right? I'll be out there yelling at cars, yo, come in, yo, come in. We got free garlic butter, free this, anything I can do. I'm like, when we had my food truck, because it was outside, the smoke's going out, so you can smell the garlic butter. I'd have my employees throw garlic butter on the grill just to get the smell going. People are like, yeah, they're like, I had to make a U-turn. I could smell you guys driving down Flamingo. I'm
That'd be
like, they're like,
awesome.
I don't, yeah, I'm like, what the hell? And I would do those at the weed sessions too, because at first my girl, she would be like, man, no, babe, no one's coming up to us. I'm like, well, first of all, they haven't smoked yet, so just give it a second, right? Give it like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Once they get a little, they'll be good. And then 2, I go, watch this. So I throw garlic butter on the grill, and it would cut through. You would literally see people go like this. They're talking because you could tell when the garlic butter would hit their nose because they do one of these. What the hell? Yeah, because I'm just throwing it on the grill. Just so I, I I'm starting to understand when they say that the first 5 years you got to really reinvest because it's like this. You reach 1,000 people, 20 come are regular customers. You reach another 1,000, now 40. Now you reach, and I'm starting to realize it's compounding. And so now it's like, don't get me wrong, I'm very blessed, and I pray to the Lord every day that I stay in business, and I'm very grateful that people come. But there's no day that I'm not going to have any customers anymore. But it's because of those years. I know that the second I open the door, I'm at least gonna have some sales. There's nothing. It's never a zero. I even had days where 12-hour days where I've done $400. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going out of business tomorrow. But I'm starting to understand now that why that's so important. Because I've reached probably 1 million people to retain X amount of customers every single month.
Makes sense. It makes sense. Let's shift gears before we run out of time here, because I can't believe we've been talking for almost 40 minutes.
Let's go.
Tell me what changed, because you said you have a two-year-old daughter now.
Yeah.
So tell me how that changed things.
So I've always been going hard, right? Even before I had a daughter. I've always been going hard. I've always been the person that saw myself with a future family. I also wanted something for myself more in life in the future, right? But the difference now is before I could slack off a little bit. Before I could, excuse me, before I could be like, I'm tired tonight, I'll go to sleep. Before I do that, obviously I didn't do that as much, but I was able to do that. And it's not that my daughter's 2 years old. She don't care what I do. She's gonna be like, yeah, I love you, Daddy, no matter what right now. But it's still like the fact that like I just don't want her going to somebody like, yeah, my dad was a loser. My dad, he takes days off, he sucks, this and that. Like I got that not that exaggerative, but you know what I mean? Like that mentality of like, I want her to be proud of me. I want her to think that I'm a good dad. I want her to know that I did everything I could possible. And so that's what really drives me to just keep going, going, going. I remember 2 years ago, I started Rich Off Food, and uh, I had some hiccups and I kind of stopped it, right? But now there's no, I'm not stopping nothing. Anything I start now, I'm going all in. I'm not dipping a toe in, nothing. I gotta go all in. And it's because one, I'm getting older, and two, she's getting older. One day she's gonna realize my dad's dope. He's cool as hell. Yeah, I know they all eventually say their dads aren't cool, but you know what I mean. It's just like it just feels like I have no choice now. Before I kind of had a choice, now I have no choice to get up every day and really make something happen.
On a personal level, what's the biggest change for yourself for being a dad? I mean, when did you hit that mindset shift of, oh my God, I'm responsible now for a small human?
Oh, the second she was born, I'm looking down like, because the whole time my girl's pregnant, I'm like, yeah, it's fake. Like in your mind, it's hard to actually process that a human being is coming to fruition, right? This is her right here. You can go, baby. Can you say hi? This is my way.
Hi, sweetheart.
Baby, daddy's going to finish, okay? Okay. Afterwards. Okay. Ah. And so it's like, obviously, that was the first time you can sit right here, baby. Just gotta be quiet, okay? So that was the first time when she was born. It's like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But then, for the first year to 2 years, the joke I make is they're like a potato. They don't really do much, And so it's like, you're still kind of like, yeah, it's like you feed it. It's like what were those pets back in the day? Those, like a chia pet, you just feed it. And as long as you give it some water, it's good. But now that she's older, now she has feelings, she has emotions. She's saying things to me that I'm like, I can't believe this is a human. So I think definitely around this time is really making me like, oh my gosh, I can't say certain things because you'll repeat it. Before I can say these things, I don't know what's going on. She really like wants to play. That's all she said, Daddy, play with me, Daddy, play with me. And I don't want to hurt her feelings. So I think right now is very, very, very mindset shifting on, oh my gosh, like I have, not only do I have to keep something alive, which it was for the first year and a half, now it's like I have to emotionally help this person as well.
That's awesome. Make as many memories as you can.
You're trying my best.
You don't get to pick which ones.
Trying my best, Rick. That's true, and that's the goal now. It's not really for me anymore.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, leave us with this. Leave us with one or two pieces of advice that you wish somebody had told you when you were first getting started.
Okay, one or two. Hold on, baby. Baby, stop real quick. I'm almost done. Okay. Yep. Good job, baby. She's gonna be playing with a little thing. Sorry.
That's fine.
One or two things. One thing I'd say is that no matter what you do, whether you, and this is something that I did realize, but I love telling people this, is that time's going to go by whether you start something now or start something later. So start it now, because the time's going to go by anyway, and you're going to wake up in X amount of years and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I started that. That's the biggest thing that scares me. I was 18, told myself I was going to make so much money by the time I was 21. I woke up at 21, I had one beer in this hand, the blunt in this hand, sitting in the same chair in the same garage. And that scared the crap out of me. My biggest thing, like when I talk to people, like, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm like, okay, so when are you going to do it? I'm thinking next year. No, start now. Start right now. What's next year?
Yeah.
What's next year? Next year's gonna go by. You're gonna be a year behind. So that's my main thing. Start now. Don't wait. Don't wait. You're never gonna be ready. Start now. Another thing is, this is harder than said, but definitely surround yourself around people you want to be like. And if you're not, if you're not able to surround yourself around those people, you're gonna have to at least separate yourself from the people that are dragging you down, right? And it's a lot harder to do it than it actually is to say it. I used to be like, why don't people want to, why don't successful people want to hang out with me? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. Well, it's because I wasn't at that level yet, right? One, but two, I wasn't personally prepared to even be invited to these things. So you might have to go the lone wolf path for a little while in order to develop certain traits that will be able to get you invited into these certain rooms. I didn't have friends for a very long time. All my day one friends, unfortunately, we were like this, and then we were like this, and it was very depressing. I don't have friends. I don't have this. Those same laughs that you're gonna have. I haven't had them in years. But what I did was I just focused on myself, focused on my business, focused on leveling up, and now some of my most best friends have the same exact goals as me, the same exact dreams as me. They're in the same industry as me, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So don't be afraid to have to separate to elevate.
It's a great separate to elevate. I love it. I love it. Folks, thank you for joining us today. Zach, thank you for being with us. I appreciate you sharing your
Thank you.
piece of your story and your wisdom for everybody out there. Check out the links in the comments below if you want to go and follow Zach. And as always, there'll be some freebies down there from me, a couple of my books, and
Let's go.
just keep an eye on what he's doing. He's doing some good stuff. And for you young people out there that are following this old man, enjoy it and look for more of this stuff. Love y'all. Peace.
Let's go.